Hey gang, this is Vicki Kelly with the Golden Rule Trades. I want to show you what our setups were today. For those of you who've been in the live room, this would have been a much better day to have the live room after the FOMC meeting and announcements. This pattern setup today were awesome. And so mental note, when you're going to start a live trading room, don't do it FOMC week. Okay, so for those of you who have been also in the live room, I want to show you how to choose to draw your lines a little bit. So our first setup came right out of the gate, and we were able to capture quite a bit of it. There was some pullback, but if you used a big enough stop, which we have been doing, we've been using our 5 contracts with a 10-point stop. And you can see these lines are almost 10 points. That's one of the reasons it gives us the clue of how big to set our stop. Now, this would have triggered almost immediately because we already had our confirmations. When this broke through, the line would have not been unusual to see a pullback here. And then, but we would have had the permission to enter here, and this would not have stopped us out with our 10-point stop. And then we can take our profits when this pierces into this. But I wanted to show you one little difference, and that was this. We talked about this in the live room. You see this doji right there? That is where I would want to pull this line to when I saw that doji. And if you see doing that, gave you the indication this hit it almost to the tick. And that's why I like to use those dojis, because they're so good at showing us where the energy lines are. And this would have gotten us about 18 points if had we been able to capture all of that. So then our next setup, because once we get to a 400 level move, and this is obviously the lowest low of the day as well, we start looking for our up move. And I drew my line here for a couple reasons. For those of you who are in the live room, also because this doji, the top was right there, and I like to stick to the top of these wiki. I call them twigs, right here. You could have gone up further, but as the further the day goes in, the more conservative you want to be in your entries as well. So I chose the body of that particular candle, which is typical for me. I waited until we got our confirmations. So we would have entered on this, returned to this bar here and taken this all the way up to there. And that one got us about 16 points. So if we were able to capture all of it again. Okay. And then we would have begun looking for a downward move. Again, 2/3 of the days, it is range bound, and that's when we do the best. Now, again, the further you go into the day, the longer or the shorter you want your entry lines to be, your energy lines, because of the fact that many of these might just be pullbacks rather than the move of the morning. Remember, we're looking for that move of the morning. Here, we would have not even gotten triggered until here. We would have been able to enter at this line and capture this here. As you can see, it went down lower. And so when I looked for a target after it broke through, I simply brought my line down to here and saw that, but it was not a tradable play. It was just an indication for me of when might this start turning around. That's all you use that for when you change your lines after the fact. And what we were able to capture would have been about a 10-point move. And then we did have a setup right at 11 o'clock. This was a big move. You could have drawn your lines here. I was a little more conservative again because we've been going through the day, 11 o'clock, getting towards the end of the morning. So I drew my lines here, and was able to enter at this line here and capture this to here. And that would have been about an 18-point move as well. Now you could have drawn your lines this way. And let me show you, I left my moving averages on here because I wanted you to see this. It would have been just as acceptable to put your line here. You see, we still have our confirmations here. We would have entered here, but this top trigger level coincides with our 200 moving average. And this loves to get pulled up to the 200 and then has a little bit of trouble getting through it. So you can always look for a pullback at the 200. And so that would have also been a good indication of where to draw your lines today. Again, this is part art, part science, but once you understand we're looking for the move of the day, you can figure out that just one little difference might make a difference of a point or two, even three. But when you understand that your goal is to capture the biggest part of the move, then you can walk away with a nice little profit. This last part, had we been able to capture all of that, was about 18 points. So all totaled 18, 16, 10, and 18. It was an awesome day. So I hope you were able to capture part of that. Join us on Saturday if you're part of the course for our live Q&A at noon Eastern time. And for everybody, I hope that you will stay safe out there and good luck trading.